Good morning, everybody, on this sunny Friday morning. How are we all doing today? Oh, wow. It's been a week, hasn't it? A week of weather, should we say? Definitely. We've definitely gone through, I think, all the seasons. We have had a flurry of snow. It was a flurry, but I count it. With a flurry of snow, we've had torrential rain, we've had a storm, we've got sunshine, we've got frost. You name it, we've had it. So, how are we all doing on this lovely sunny Friday morning? So, I am going to give everybody a little moment to come and join me. I'm not going to be hanging around too long with this project because there's quite a lot to do in it. So, I want to be able to make sure I get sort of all of the elements covered. I do still have a bit of a cold, and I apologise if I'm a bit sniffy. It's not great, I know. Hi, Carol. How are you today? What's the weather like where you are? Let's have a little weather check-in. So this will be I have one more live after today, and that will be in December. So cannot believe we are towards the end of November already. Where has the time gone? Where's it gone? Who knows? So we'll just see what everybody's doing. Everyone come in and say hello quickly, and then we are going to go ahead and have a look at the projects we have for today. So good morning, Camille. How are you? We have blue sky today, but cold. Exactly. Very cold but sunny in Essex. Yeah, that seems to be the general vibe. Very good way to describe it. Very cold but sunny. It was quite funny because when we had the snow for all of 2 minutes of it, my son was like, Mum, I can't ride my bike in this weather. So I had to drop him to school. And then yesterday he was like, Mum, it's so icy and dangerous outside. Remember, my son is 15. So I was like, So this morning I was like, you're going to school on your bike and you're just going to do it. You can do this. Good morning. Good morning to Heather. Good morning to Leslie. How are you? Good morning, just me. Good morning, Lisa. So lovely to see you all. So let's go ahead and just show you the project we have for today. So it's a bit of a, I'm going to go back to last week. I think I may have said this last week as well. But we have a bit of an ongoing joke between my friends and I that I do not celebrate Christmas until December. I say it's an ongoing joke. It's very serious. And so my friends often call me the Grinch, and I'm like, I am not the Grinch. When it comes to Christmas, when we get to Christmas, when we get to December, I fully embrace Christmas. My husband and I would go out with the kids. We get a tree. We normally get a real tree. We literally our front room and our sort of dining room, because it blurs. It looks like you've just got up into your Christmas decorations and just thrown everything you can at our house. We do the works. But I am very much that we have to get into December before I can embrace that. So that's why we have the running joke of, I have to do Christmas in November. But I have enjoyed doing these. These have been great fun to do. And this is our final sort of project for Christmas themed for this month. And that is the Wirework Christmas baubles. I took the chat off by mistake. Good morning, Barbara. Good morning from Philadelphia. We'll watch the replay. Well, good morning. Lovely to see you. Good morning, Sheila. Same here, December. Thank you. But I do appreciate that as crafters and just as friends, I guess. People do love to have stuff in November. I have a couple of friends actually who've already gotten their Christmas decorations out. Work offices are being decorated up with Christmas themes. So these are my little ode to them. And I think these are really adorable ornaments that you can make these either as a tree decoration, or because we've got all these beautiful crystals, they would look gorgeous as like a window decoration, maybe like a festive sun catcher, but like a winter version. So sorry, Savannah has come in to join. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Lauren, everyone. Sunshine this morning. We've had torrential rain, snow, and wind in the week. It's very cold today. Still good for creating, 100%. And I think that's the nicest thing in it, isn't it? Like when it's like this kind of it's nice and bright out. It's a little bit fresh. You know what? Nice cup of coffee. Today we're in Epcot. Nice cup of coffee. Let's sit down. The sun's making you feel nice and happy. Stay in the warm. Pop the radiator on if you need to, or a blanket around your legs, and let's get crafting. So I'm going to switch your camera over so you can see the project. So we have brand new wire today. We have 1.2 mil wire, and I am so happy and excited that we've got this heavy gauge of wire. Natalie and myself have been pestering Totally Beads to get this gauge of wire in, because we adore the heavier gauge of wire. It opens up so much potential for you to be able to create your structural pieces, to have that strength. I mean, these pieces are solid, and it just enables you to create these structured pieces that you can personalize, create your own Christmas decorations, create so much with these. I'm going to be a bit sneaky and show you an alternate version that I was considering doing with the red. So we will be doing this red and green version today, but I was playing about with ideas and I was like, ooh, I love this kind of spiraling around. I will confess that I would need to add additional strands of crystals to continue to go all the way around, but I mean, if that's an option you wanted to consider as well, just thought it was really cool. But we've gone for that more kind of traditional. If you think of if your Christmas baubles, you've got that lovely, those swirls, that decoration, that sort of line work on it. So we have two versions of this kit. We have both will be with your silver plated wire, but you have a red and a green version, because what's Christmas without red and green? So I am going to go over to the website now, tell you how you can get your hands on these kits. And then I'm going to start showing you, because these do take a little bit of time. I'd like to be able to show you sort of as much as I can. So let's go on over to the website, totallybeads.co.uk, as always. Now, I have already gone ahead. You just go into your video tutorials and then you'll find wire bauble decoration. So wire video tutorials, and then you have here the wire bauble. Look at that beautiful Christmas background on it there. The video again to learn how to do it, which you'll be getting today. So I just seen some more messages. It must be freezing on me a little bit. So good morning. It just says nice to 25 us, but nice to see you. Good morning on a chilly morning. Good morning, Mina. Sunny but cold. Does that make sense? 100%. I'm the same. Don't celebrate until December. Thank you, Lisa. And again, I honestly fully embrace when I do, but all of my friends do love to mock me a little bit and say, oh yeah, the Grinch is out. I do actually. One of my friends, lovely girl, she actually sent me a Grinch notepad. She was like, I saw this and thought of you. I'm like, thanks. I'm not a Grinch. I'm just a Grinch before December. I only making semi-Christmas cards before December, and then we get the deckies up in mid-December. Fantastic. Good morning, Maxine. Oh, thank you. They are lovely. Thank you. Good morning, Elaine, from a very cold and frosty Accrington, or Accrington. So lovely to see you. So glad that you can join me. Right, okay, so let's go back over and having a look at how we can get our hands on these kits. So you do have them in two versions. I didn't get the red version to Simon just it quite in time, but that picture will go up later, because we can see that we do have the red version here. But you have your green variation and you will have your red variation. So the main wire itself will remain the same. You get this kit for $8.99 and you will get one decoration with a bit of leftover, just to say. It makes one decoration. You get 1.25 wire, or 1.2 mil wire, sorry, and I believe you get 1.5 meters of that. So you have enough to be able to make your decoration and a little bit more to play with as well if you want to. You get your 0.4 mil wire and you get 2 strands of your crystal rondelle beads. Now you get 2 different versions of your red and your green. So I will show you them up close, but I don't know. I'll show you in a moment when you can see the pieces up close. But you have kind of like a sort of like a solid, and a slightly darker. Hopefully you can see that, like a lighter green and then a slightly darker green, just to give that contrast, which I thought was fun. So you have that for $8.99. Now with that, I will say I had leftover wire, leftover 1.2 wire and leftover beads as well. Again, the red is exactly the same. There will be an image later on, but it's just a different version. I'm going to switch this over. So for $8.99, you get to make your own bespoke wire bauble. Now these do take time, and so these are something that, you know, if you wanted to sell or gift, I would consider making sure that you put that cost of your time and materials into that piece, because they do take a bit of time to create, you know, and each one will be individual. So I'm going to come back over to the piece and show you what I mean. So you can see here that I tried to follow my own instructions and could not get repeat designs, but I think that's part of the beauty of it. You know, everyone's going to look a little bit different. Everyone's going to have, like, even here, the top part's slightly different sizes. Your swirls will be in different places. The only thing that is kind of uniform is this section just here, because this is kind of what we use as the centerpiece to stabilize, and then we can decorate around it. And again, I guess I just think of, when I think of a bauble, you have that band around the middle normally, and then your decoration around it. And so I'm kind of replicating that with this. When I first made this one, I didn't have so many sparkles at the bottom, and I sent my friends a picture, my Christmas obsessed friends, who are all highly amused at the fact that I have been doing Christmas decorations, Christmas tree of lives, little Christmas snowflake chainmail stars for our bead club, and they're highly amused by that, but the fact that I'm so anti-Christmas in November. So I was sending them, and they were like, no more sparkles, so I added more sparkle. And I think that's something that you can kind of really sort of personalize your piece with. You can add as much sparkle as you want or not, or, you know, however you want to. I'm going to give you guidelines how to create this, and you obviously can take that and do with it as you please. And as I said, there's that sort of slightly more rogue version where we're just channel setting effectively into a spiral. And I may get some more crystals and just finish that off, because I did actually love how it was turning out. So, Mina, you said I made a lot of Grinch earrings and necklaces. I'd love to see that. I do. You know what? I would love to see that, Mina, because I feel like I should. I feel like there's enough days of November for me to get myself some of those Grinch earrings. It is a running joke, but I do embrace it. I think the other thing that I always say, part of the other reason that I'm a little bit anti-Christmas in November, is my mum's birthday was the 15th of December. And so we always had her birthday first, then we went into Christmas. So I think it's always just been kind of a little bit ingrained into me that we do that before Christmas. So I don't know, maybe we're all different, aren't we? Sparkly goodness in a bauble. Absolutely. Right, yeah, exactly, Heather. My friends think it's hilarious. They just think it's so funny that I'm sort of like, oh, I have to do this. But it's, you know, it is what it is. So let's go ahead and have a look at how we can design this. Now I have sort of got a little bit that I've prepped a little bit ready to skip some stages as well, to sort of hopefully get as much shown as we can. As I said, you aren't necessarily going to, I'm not going to necessarily be able to show you a completely finished piece, but I'm certainly going to be able to show you a majority of it. So, oh, I'd love to see that, Mina. I'd love to see your pictures. So with this, as I said, you don't need a lot. You just need your basic tools. Now, this is going to make you chuckle. This is an old coffee cup, coffee jar. I can't even remember what brand it was. I keep it on my desk because it's just been a store of so much, maybe paintbrushes, or, you know, I might have put beads in it at one point. I mean, this is another coffee mug that I've got here. This one does have my sparkly beads in it, because I obviously have a problem with sparkly beads. I sort of like my beads super sparkles. But what you're looking for is something that is solid, that is going to give you a nice mandrel to create your bauble shape. Excuse the little character there. A little candle jar here. This is just one that I've alcohol inked to decorate, but again, it's a solid sort of mandrel that I can use to create my bauble shape. So you just want something that you can use, whether it be a little solid glass, whether it's a top of a jar. You just want something that you're going to be able to create a smooth circle with. All right, now I actually used this, as I said, an old coffee cart jar. So you could even use a candle. I mean, I've got a candle here that I could probably use that as well, but it might not get as good a solid shape because candles obviously are wax. So let's go ahead and look. So you're going to have your length of wire. Now what I would advise is sort of obviously cutting your wire. When you get your wire, it won't be on a reel. So what you would want to do is sort of keep it on its length, keep it as it is. And then, so I've got this down because it's great for stopping those beads from running. We're going to want to, what I'm actually going to do is switch, I think, to the other camera, just because I feel like it'd be a bit tricky to show you. I might have to switch between them both. What we are going to start off with is I'm going to tell you a top tip if you're using a heavier gauge of wire. So you're using a 1.2 mil wire. What will happen is, I'm going to see if I can get this close enough to show you. So you on. I've got a little piece here, right? I've got a little piece here, so I'm going to show you on this little piece. Okay. Now, I would advise when using a heavier gauge of wire, good cutters. And I will also advise, so I mine are a little bit worn, but these are my favorite and they are great for your heavier gauges of wire. If you have the Xuron, cutters, do not cut your heavier gauge with the Xuron cutters. They are not designed to cut a wire above a 1 mil. Okay, and even then, I questionably don't really like to go above a 0.8. For me, if I'm going to cut a 1 mil, if I'm going to use those, my Xuron cutters, I tend to use them. And for those of you know, Xuron are these sort of the blue handled sort of pliers here. You can get them in lots of different, like sort of like different kind of what are these, prongs, whatever they're called, and so they are not really designed for cutting your heavier gauges of wire. I tend to use them for cutting like my 0.4s, maybe my 0.6, 0.8 out push, but I really don't like to go any higher than that because you can damage the blades, and it does say on them not to cut above a 1 mil. So I use my good old sturdy all-rounders to cut this, and there's a reason I'm telling you that. I just don't want you to ruin your tools. And then what they do is, again, depending if you're using flush cutters or like your general just cutters. Now, flush cutters will cut your wire to like a slope, and general side cutters will cut it to a pinch. And the reason I'm telling you this, I'm going to cut this in half now, and I'm going to tell you that this side will be flat, dead straight, and this side will have that flush. And that is because the back of your pliers will always give you a dead straight cut, and that applies to any kind of cutters, whether they're side cutters, flush cutters, anything. So I'm going to cut this and I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to cut. And the reason I'm telling you this is because when the thicker the gauge of wire you go, the more it stands out. Okay. So even though the camera doesn't want to focus, I feel like you can already see. By the way, it's being dramatic. So there you go. You can see quite clearly that end of wire. You can see that cut, whereas on here you can see it's nice and straight. Now there is a reason I'm telling you this. It's because if you are doing a design like this where you have got these ends, see here where I haven't done it, you can see that point, whereas here you can see that flush. So it looks much better if you can come in with the back of your pliers. Remember, the black back will give you that flat edge, and just to nip any of those cuts. So you can see it quite, hopefully you can see it, what I mean by it here. On here, it's all dead straight. On here, you see that point. So it's just a good habit to try to get into when you're cutting your wire, to just cut it off at the beginning. So it just gives a nicer finish. So when you are coming back to this piece here, and we're doing our first spiral, I want to make sure that that is flat. It is, but if it wasn't, I would just give it a little snip. Now that's nice and straight. So I'm now going to take my pliers and I'm just going to, now when you're using a heavier gauge of wire, you just need to be a little bit more controlled with it. So coming around, and I'm just going to sort of grab that end and just bring it around into a little sort of swirl. I don't want loads because I want to form a actual bauble shape with this. So I'm just doing a little edge there, and I am going to turn that up. I'm now going to switch cameras because this is tricky. Okay, I'll pop that there so you've got something to look at in the corner. So I've now got my edge coming up, and I'm going to just take this jar. And the reason I've had to place that edge up is so that it sits flush. Oops. So that it sits flush against that jar. So it means that I'm able to form a circle shape, and then I can just push it back inside. So I'm just going to go all the way around this jar. It really is nothing fancy. I just want to get that nice round shape. Really nothing fancy at all. I'll flip it over to here so you can see what I'm saying. But I just want to kind of try and show you. So move that out of the way so you can see it's flat against the jar. And just bringing it around. And then when you take it away, you have... that was not the best of starts. Come on. Go back. You almost want it to cross over. So it locks in that shape. So it crosses over. So it will lock in that shape. Take it off, you've got your shape. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you just kind of want it to be a sort of a guide, because then you're going to turn that back and that's going to start to give you've got your nice circle shape. Okay, it was a bit faffy to show you, but you won't be fighting with a camera trying to show people, whereas I am. So I'm a go by eye person, but you could place this onto a piece of paper, draw around it, and actually then draw your shape and sort of reference it. I am a bit of a let's just see what happens, hence why mine are slightly different, but I'm also not mad about that because I think each one is individual. But what we want to do is this section here. So we are here, we've done this circle, we've gone all the way around, and now we want to go up, along, around, along, down, and along. Now the end of this is actually going to get wrapped. You can probably just about see it on here, or maybe I did a good job and you can't. But it gets wrapped in behind the crystals. So it will cross over and it will blend into there. Oh no, I've actually put that one across there. I did actually put that one down. I thought I didn't. Okay, so what you're going to do, oh, it was this one that I did it on. I did it slightly different on that one, and I think I preferred it where, and again, this is trial and error when you're doing this. I think I preferred it where it lifts slightly off because it just gave it a little bit easier to weave it. So on this frame here, I've already done a frame here just for you to see. You can see that I've wrapped it just there, and that will blend in. Okay, so we're here. We've got the circle coming around. We're going to go around, up, along, loop, along, down, and just cut and wrap and secure. So I am going to go ahead and just show you that. So chain those pliers. Where are you? Now I like to just think, well, okay, it's going to look like this. Again, I go by eye, but you can measure this. I'm just going to bring that across and up. I'm going to cut this wire a little bit. You can keep this on the reel, but I'm just cutting it so that I can actually show you what I'm doing. Okay. And the reason I say keep it on the reel is because everybody's going to be a little bit different size wise. You're going to use a different mandrel, you know, so you don't want, I can't say to you cut X amount off because it's all going to be a bit personal. So going across, I've got that coming up. I again go by eye, so I'm going to just put my pliers into what I think when I reference it looks like a good sort of proportion. And then as I get to here, I want to line my loop up roughly with this loop that I've got here. So again, I'm going to come here, and I am using the Beadsmith mandrel that we do have on the website, and just placing that in. Now I've gone for the second one. I think is a nice sort of size, and you simply wrap that wire around it. Now you could measure to make sure you get this to match, or if you're me, you go by eye. If you go by and you think, I'm not too sure about that, it's easy enough to fix. Just pop your pliers into that bend and press. It will open it back out, and you can just make it a tiny bit smaller if you need to. It's fine. And then again, just that little edge just there, and there you have your piece. Okay. Now I actually cut mine and stitched it here, but again, there's nothing to say that you don't bring it around here and make it another loop if you wanted to. I just think sometimes you can overthink it or complicate it. So I'm going to cut this sort of just over halfway on the inside, because we can stitch it together then. And there you have it. Now I didn't hammer this or anything. I simply kept it as it was, as a round shape. Okay. Now I'm going to take some 0.4 wire. She says, I know I got my 0.4 wire out. Where did I put it? There it is. With your, oops, what was that? So with your 0.4 wire, you're going to just cut sort of like workable little lengths. Probably this is about a ruler's amount of wire here. And I'm going to just wrap, and with this, you always want to sort of anchor the wire onto a single frame. So 1, 2, 3. I'm just wrapping that around the outside there, and then I can go along, and then I can just wrap these wires together. So I'm wrapping that little that cut section there in, because that'll be covered by some crystals when we fill us in with beads. Okay, it doesn't have to be the tidiest, because we are going to overwrap this anyway with some more we're going to overwrap this with crystals and fill this in with detail anyway. So just keep going around a couple of times, and then I'm going to sort of stabilize by adding in, oops, what did I do there? In that part of the bauble. So I want to start to connect it all together now. So bringing that in, and this is just going to help have that tidy frame to work from. It gives you also a good reference. So when we start to cut the wire, the 1.2 wire, to fill in the swirls and details, we have got a good size reference to go to. So I'm just kind of stitching that in now, going all the way along over to the other side, and remembering that when you attach and when you sort of finish the wire off, you want to work it around a single wire. So I've just brought that back to that bauble shape here so that I can cut that. So cutting in nice and close. Don't throw away any of your little ends of your 0.4, because there'll always be a little section you can use that on. Give it a little tidy. Just get your pliers in and sort of get that to settle. You go, and then I find, because I've left that little tail on where I attached it, and get that nice and how I want it, and snip. And there you have your frame. Okay, and that is ready to start being filled in with whatever your decoration is. Come on, there we go. Okay, so you have that there. So as I said, I already kind of went ahead. This one's a little bit bigger. That's fine. It's fine. Look at that. That's cute, doesn't it? It looks cute just like that, to be honest. You could just drop some crystals into it. But I am going to go ahead, and because I've actually already measured out the next bit, I'm going to use the pre-made one. And the next thing we want to do, I've already kind of prepped it, but we want to prep a section here that is going to go into the middle. Okay, it's just going to go across to the middle, and you need it to have swirls that are going to be able to connect to the edges and the sort of straight part to connect to the edge here. So you've got a base to actually set it and get that in place. Now what I'm going to do is just go back to this one and show you how I've created that little section. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my wire. I'm going to make sure that I have no pointy edge, and I am going to do a little swirl. So pliers in at the end, lots of little movements. You see I'm kind of like taking my pliers in and out again to just really get a grip on that wire and to bring it around into that open swirl. Place it into your bauble shape and reference it where you think it's going to kind of go. So I'm thinking that's going to be quite a nice point for me. And then I can come over to here and I can put my pliers in, and just before that I can place that so it's going to sit across on the edge. Now if there's a slight gap, that's fine, it'll work because we can stretch that swirl out a little bit if we need to. You want there to be a slight curve just in that straight line. And again, how wide you have this is your choice. I tend to just go by visual. We've got that in place. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to come past, see how I'm allowing the wire to go past the outside of the frame, and just probably about 1.5 inches and snip flat side so that I get that flat, and then bring that around. So again, I start by getting that bend, come back out with my pliers, and then come and really bring that around to be that swirl, because a 1.2 wire is heavier and it's just a little bit, you have to just be a bit more controlled because it's just harder. It's not harder, it just needs to be handled differently. And then you can place that in and think, am I happy with that? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Am I happy with how that's sitting? Yep, I like that. I'm happy with that. Perfect. So then I now want to fill this section here in with my beads. I just realized I never showed you the beads properly off the strand. So obviously I have already opened these just because I was prepping some, but keep an eye on them, make sure they don't run everywhere. Keep them on the strand if you can. That's going to be your best option. And you can see you've got this gorgeous kind of like lighter tone of the red with this gorgeous coating on it. Look at this, is it not just stunning? Come on. I just could sit and look at these all day. And then you have these more sort of rich red colorway. Try to block everything out so my camera will actually pick the crystals up, but I think they're so sparkly that the camera cannot cope with them. And then we've got the where is it? I have got the green versions as well, just to show you. You have the green variation, so again that gorgeous like lighter green, and then that lovely sort of richer green. So this is your green version, and then you have the maybe let me show you it like that, gorgeous reds. Okay, so I'm gonna, just as I said, make sure I've got the ends of my beads ready. I've got one here. Ooh, where are you? There we are. And then I've got one here. I'm ready to go. So make sure you've got this nice and easy to do, because it can get, obviously I've already opened these, so I am getting myself in a mess, because this is why I don't work with tiny seed beads and tiny crystals, but I feel like in this project it's worth it. There we go. So I've got the ends of both of these that will make the sort of channel setting easier. Good morning. Is that Rachel? I want to say from an icy sunny Barrow. So I have my section. I have my crystals ready. Keep them on the strand, and then I'm going to take some more of my 0.4. Now this weave here you can add in, so don't try and use like a really long piece of wire and then stress out about trying to fit this in. You can add into this weave quite easily. So I'm only going to get this started because I've already done a piece, but what I do want to do is keep myself about 6 inches of wire so that when I come to attaching it to the frame, I've already got my wire ready. I'm going to move my frame. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to wrap a couple of times around the top. For me, my wire comes straight over the top, and I'm going to add my beads straight on. Now the first go is basically just working out how many beads fit into that little channel section. So I'm just keeping them. See how I took them straight off, kept them in my hand, and got most of them straight onto my wire. I'll do that again in a moment because I did that out of habit. You want to make sure your wire has no kinks in it. And then we're going to go down and we're going to see, does that fit? I think that fits about right. So that's five beads on there. Okay, and it goes straight across the front and it sits in that gap, and my 0.4 goes across, and I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. So I'm wrapping 3 times. I find it easier to turn the piece over. My wire's going straight across the back. 1, 2, 3. Turn my piece over. My wire's back ready to go across the front. I'm going to pick up 5 of the next beads. So I'm going to show you again. I tend to just kind of pick them up in my hand. Keep them in your finger and thumb. Straight away through. And they can all go on. Hi, Rachel. Ooh, have you got a nice new haircut? So straight across, wrap 1, 2, 3, straight across the back, and then 1, 2, 3. Grab another section off of the strand, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, straight on, and then you just continue until you are either run out of wire or you have completely filled in that section. Now if you run out of wire, what I would do is cut my wire at the 3, either at the top or the bottom, it really doesn't matter. Take your new piece of wire, go to the opposite side, make sure you try to work out how your wire was going. So see how I know I want my wire to go back across the front, so I'm placing it in so that when I hold that little tail I can go 1 and 2. I'm going to do 2 wraps, and then I can add on my new wires. So 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you would just go place that back up there, and then oops, just trying to get involved with the strand of crystals. 2, 3, 4, oh, 1, 2, 3. I got a bit carried away then. And then just carry your pattern straight on. When you've got a couple of wraps, you can just remember to go in and cut that tail. So a really nice easy weave to add into. So don't worry about having lots and lots of wire, like trying to use like a really strong long strand of wire. It's not needed. So we'll pull that to one side and we'll go into here's one I prepped earlier, although I'm looking and I can't see where I put my prep section. Seriously, do you ever think like you're just out to get me today? Where are you? We all saw I had my prep section, right? I showed you it. Showed you. I was like, I have a prep section. Where have you gone? Seriously. It really has. It really has gone. Are you joking me? Are you joking me? I had a whole piece section ready to go. We all saw it. We all saw it, right? I haven't lost the plot. That's very, very, very annoying. Did you all see it? Did you see it? Tell me I'm not going crazy. I'm not having this. I spent time prepping that piece. Where have you gone? Okay, well, I have officially lost the plot because wherever it's gone, it is not showing itself right now. Okay. Okie dokie. That's a little bit confusing. I am literally just looking now like it has to be here. I had it. You all saw it. I had it. If I put something on it, has it gone somewhere? What has happened? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why we don't have a chaotic desk. Right, under the mat, look on the floor. I am not going mad, am I? I'm looking on the floor. Where? Under the mat. Right, well, that's really annoying. That is really, really annoying. Oh, okay. Right, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to spend ages looking for it. You know I had it. I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm just gonna go back to the new version. Whatever. Oh. No. Oh, I found it. I found it. Yeah, I should have asked Anthony, shouldn't I? It's fine. I found it. People. There we go. Found it. We can go back. I can undo my hissy fit. Right. So here's one I made earlier. So I left that tail. I also left a little bit of a extra tail just because I had it here, because this is where you can start to build this up now. So I'm placing this into my design and I'm going to just start to stitch it together. So all I'm going to do is place this and stitch the end to the frame. It doesn't, there we go. We're just going to go along. I mean, if you don't leave a piece of wire, it's fine. You can add a new piece. I just am aware that you have a lot of adding ins and stuff on this. So if you can keep the wire, it just reduces having to add in a new piece. Make sure it stays where you want it to, sits where you want it to. Go all the way around, all the way. And you're just going to secure that in. And you can do that all the way down. Just making sure it stays where you want it to stay and sits how you want it to sit. Just keep going, add that in. I find my chain those pliers. Thank you, Alison. Thanks everyone for your help up my sleeve. It could have been. I tell you, at one point I was getting desperate. Right, so I find my sort of chain those pliers my best buddies for a design like this, because I'm able to kind of just use it just to grab that tail end of wire and just get that in place. Now I'm not going to do all of this perfectly. You get the gist. I'm just going to bring this down now. I'm going to wrap it around. Remember to try and wrap it around that single frame so it doesn't, it's got something to grip to when you're finishing it, and snip. Okay, so you can see now we're starting to get our design together. Place it how you want it to sit, check it's sitting. And remember, we are actually going to make this a bit 3D. So it is going to, as you can see, but it has got like a dome to it. Okay. So you can start to factor that in as we're placing it in here. We can start to get that 3D element, and you can sort of adjust your swirls as you're going. So just making sure you get that 3D element, and you may need to adjust the size of your swirls. That's absolutely fine. Now, my next step I do before I do anything else is I just prep. So I'm going to take my sort of leftover 1.2 wire, and I'm going to take approximately, I could measure it for you, about 3.5 inches of wire, and I'm going to cut it 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Now what you could do is do a little mock-up one in a 1mm wire, and then just make it very slightly bigger, just because your diameter of this wire is a bit bigger, and then you'll know exactly how much wire you need to sort of do these swirls. Remember what I said about the ends? You can really see them there, so I'm just going to come along and nip them with the back of my pliers to have a nice finish. Okay, and then I'm going to start to just plot out how I want this to sit. So I want these to have this referencing back here, these kind of little swirls here. So I actually put 1, 2, 3, which is what we've just cut. So I'm going to come in, take my round nose pliers, remembering that I want to come in at the end of the end of the sort of section. Little controlled movements going around, just bringing it around. Now what I'm doing, I don't know if you can see, but I'm holding it with my left hand, and as I'm bringing my pliers around, I'm kind of just almost curving the wire to create that sort of swirl. So my right hand is turning my pliers to get that curve. My left hand is just encouraging that wire to go along as well, all the way across. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do the same again. It's a bit trickier once you've already got one side. You kind of just have to sort of go by pliers, and then you can place that, and then think, oof, look at that. Whew, that was lucky. So we're going to do 3 of these. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that again. So just coming around, creating that first sort of swirl. And what I think I did on this actually was I did that first swirl, and then I did the second bit, so I had a bit of consistency. So just so you can kind of see, yep, that's looking sort of the same. Taking that piece, turning it around. You might find you need to go a little bit further down into the wider part of your pliers, just because there'll be a bit more strength there. And then just kind of bring that around. It does, I'm not going to lie to you, it can be a bit tricky just because this wire is quite strong. You might not get the best of spirals, but you get a shape. We can cover it with wire and crystals. Just kind of just encouraging that around. There we go. Don't want it to go too out of shape. There we go. So we've got our little swirls, and then we just want to place them. So placing them how you want them to sit. So have a little sit with them. Make sure you're happy with the way they're sitting. Try to have them so that they're going to connect in some point. So see on here, they're connecting just here as a point. And then I feel like I would like to put maybe that in there. So it just means that, you know, you might have to move things about. I'm okay with that. I think that's going to look quite cute. So we've got that ready. And then I just want to do one more piece. Can hear Miss Snora. She's wobbed out down here. Hello, baby. She is a lot better. Thank you. But she, so when she, um, when I took her for a checkup, they said, oh, they had a look in her mouth and they were like, oh, she's got a rotten tooth. And I was like, oh. So they said, well, she'll be all right for the moment. Keep an eye on it. And this Thursday, she was a real little grouch and she had a little bit of a little nip at everyone except me because I'm her mum and she will never hurt me. And I was like, this is really unusual for her to be this nippy. And I looked in her mouth and I could see that her tooth had broken. So, but now she's fine again. So I think she had a bit of toothache that sorted itself out, and she's okay. But she in herself is like a different dog. She is just so happy. She's running around. She's like just a sprightly little thing again. So she's doing really well. Thank you. Okay, so my next bit here is I wanted to do this kind of larger swirl just to kind of place in amongst these two swirls here. So if you see, this is that swirl is here and this swirl is here. So I wanted to just bring something to tie it all in. So I've just got another sort of scrap of my 1 mil wire here, 1.2 mil wire here. This is a piece I already actually had, as probably where I've been doing a few of these as practice. And this is about 6 inches. And what I'm going to do is again nip it so that we know you've got nice straight edges. Bop. And a little bop. And then I'm just going to just try to create and just reference it. So just start with your first swirl, get it to be the sort of, oops, camera helps Laura, swirl, and have a little place of it and think, okay, am I happy with that? Do I need to be a bit bigger? Or don't forget, you can turn it around and be like, oh, okay, oh, I quite like that. So you can use your hands to sort of get that a bit bigger if you want to. If your wire's looking a little bit like angled, you can kind of come in with your pliers and just curve that out a little bit and place that how you might want that to go. And then I'm just thinking, okay, that's fine. I want it to go like so. And I'm just going to come across and twirl the other side. Good morning, Yolanda. How are you? Happy Friday. So again, just coming around, bringing this all the way around. And what I would do is say, just go in and see how it sits in there. Do you think that sits in there quite nicely like that? I think I'm going to leave it. But obviously, every shape that you do that is going to be a bit different, means that your stitching and filling in pattern is going to be different. So obviously on this one, it's a little bit different. I filled in patches here, here. Oh, and I also did a little piece just in this gap here. And the same on this one, like my spirals just presented slightly differently. So I filled in slightly differently. You can see here, I placed them in a different direction on this one. On here, I placed them in a different direction. So I filled in differently. It really is a bit of what I really want to encourage with something like this is just have fun with it. Like, don't overthink it. Good morning, Angela. How are you? I mean, to be honest with you, these are very much a bit of a have fun and see what happens with them. So I'm just going to fill this little bit in here with another little. Oh, so see if you've got any like little odd scraps. Like I've got this little random spiral here. I don't know if that would be quite big enough. Let's try it. So if you do find that you've had to cut like an odd end off, don't think it's wasted, because that could just be all you need to fill in that little gap there, say. So got that just there. Oh, look at that. Perfect. So then the next part is just stitching and putting it all together. So as I said, I wouldn't necessarily have time to show all of this because it is a bit of a sort of a project, but I have my 0.4 wire attached from channel setting. So I'm actually going to use that to attach this little section I just made. And you're going to find yourself attaching pieces. I found it easier to attach all of the wire frame and then add your beads. But if like here, I've got a situation where I'm thinking, okay, Keep them as they were meant to be so you don't lose your pattern. Just move them out of the way, but keep them in that pattern. And then I'm placing this here and I'm like, ooh, I could add a bead right in that little gap. So I'm going to. Now you can go to a certain palette, like a certain pattern. I did kind of keep it so that some of my sections were the lighter red, then some were the darker. I like the darker red as the sort of the cap of the bauble. I just felt it was like quite metallic-y. It gave me that, you always think like that metallic lid. So, and again, this section here filled in the exact same way we did here, just channel setting and filling those beads into that gap. So I'm going to go across here, place that little bead just in that little gap, then go around 1, 2, and 3. And again, if you think actually I want all of that to be filled in, then there's no rules. Go over to the other wire, just go behind, because when you add any beads in, you need your wire to be coming across the front. Whether it comes down or up doesn't matter, but you do want it to come across the front. And then you can just drop on some more beads. Oops, hit the camera, sorry. And then go across. But as I said, it really is a matter of each one is individual. This one is already different to the other two I've done. They're all going to be a little bit different. So I really encourage sort of just sitting and going, do you know what? Let's just see what happens. I've made my shapes and enjoy it. You know, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to say it now. Ugh. If you're making these pre-December, I personally would just put on a film. I'm not going to lie to you. I did make these whilst watching my horror film with my friends on my Monday nights. But you know, Christmas, pop on a nice Christmas film, make yourself some Christmas baubles, hot chocolate maybe, mulled wine, depends what time of day it is, and just don't overthink it. So I'm at a point now where I filled that little gap in, and I'm thinking, well, I can now stitch this together. So I'm just going to bring this across and bring that same piece of weaving wire all the way across. Come on. She's being a bit temperamental today, my camera. Come on. There you go. Just there. So just across, maybe 1, 2, and 3. And then I could bring it along here. And go 1 and 2. I could think, you know, I'm going to pop in a little crystal. So there are two approaches to a design like this. One, you just get all of your metal frame in and then go back in and add your crystals. Or 2, you just kind of add crystals as you go in, like I am. Or you do a bit of both, because I'm thinking, okay, well, that's in place now. But that's just secured that little section. And now I can come in, and again, you can stretch these a little bit. So if you think, well, I just want that to meet just there, I can just give that a little stretch, give that a little curl in. So that's going to sit in how I want it to. So if you're going to do it that way, then fantastic. Again, I'm thinking I'm just going to add that one little bead there and I'm going to cut. I could continue, but now I've got that starting to take place. Remembering to 3D it out a little bit as you go. Then I'm just going to take my 0.4 and I'm just going to take some sort of like little sections of it. So I probably take it out like a ruler's length at a time, because then you can cut it down. And I can think, right, okay, let's get this stabilized. So coming in and stabilizing it, because you can go in and add your beads afterwards. It really isn't a problem. I think it just is kind of, 1, a bit on your mood, and 2, a little bit on the way that you personally work. If you're quite a specific design, you want it to be laid out in that specific way, then you might go, nope, I need this to be all sort of secured first, then I'm going to go in with my pattern. If you're a little bit more of an ad hoc person like I am, you might go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to add beads as I go and see what happens. And I really think it's just fine to do both. So I can go 1, 2, 3, and that's that little section secured. And then secured in exact same way we did before up here. Just wrap in a couple of times around your frame. 2 to 3 times around both those wires and then back around that frame, cutting and snipping, making sure when you've done this that you go over the whole piece and really make sure there's no sharp edges. And then, as I said, let's go ahead and just maybe put in this piece here because we have sort of hit our time. I will just show you this bit quickly. You just want to start to stabilize it. So I'm going to come into here. I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to place this in. I'm going to secure it. 1. Excuse me. Sorry, a bit of a cough. 2. Come on. And 3. You are going to take your time and get this nice and done how you want it to be done. You're not going to be rushing it. But what I do think, what I personally did was, as I said, I built my framework and then I added in my beads. But if I saw a little opportunity like that where I could add some as I was going, then that is also absolutely fine. I'm going to place that. I'm going to cut 1 and 2. And then, you know, just going along, because you can still tweak this as you're going along. I think I put the wrong end in. And that's fine. Oopsie. There we go. So place that as you're going along. Get that stitched in all your different sections. I think I put the wrong end in that way. So it is important you don't rush, because obviously I'd measured that. So I've actually put that in the wrong way. There is a kind of a get out. I wonder if I can do this. I mean, to be fair, because I haven't done anything else, it's easy enough for me to just cut that off. So if you do something like that where you make a mistake, you're not paying attention, it's an easy enough fix, but it also shows how important it is you do not lose the pattern. So it is very important that you keep referencing it, because when you do stuff, things change. You know, when you've added that, it could have changed the layout of it. So do keep making sure that you go in. And when you are doing swirls, it's very easy for you to put the swirl in the wrong direction. That's another one. So it's very easy, like you've put that swirl in, but that way instead of that way. You know, just keep, and that's why I kept it referenced here so you could see it. But you get the idea, hopefully, that it's easy enough to just kind of go along. And if you do make a mistake, just cut that little wire. Make sure you take off that little scrap, but it's easy enough to fix and adjust as you're going along. So I will come back to the main piece and just show you as a reference. So get that main piece in, and then just stitch them all in. You can see stitching it together in these sections, and then go through where you've channel set up here, attach it, anchor it into places, get it all nice and secure. And then, as I said, little bits like this little section just needed to be secured, so I popped a little crystal in. Decorate it up however you want. When you're doing it, just kind of push and 3D it out to give it that 3D bauble effect, and you are just going to channel set all your beads in as that decoration. I hope that that's okay and made sense. Please have fun when you're making these. It should not be stressful. You know, sit down, as I said, put a bit of nice TV on, and then just sit and create it, and just be prepared to kind of adapt it as you're going along. You know, it might even be that as you get here, you might think, oh, I just want to, even though I've locked all of this in, I want to just bring that swirl down. Absolutely can. There's no rules with this, okay? So there you go. There we have it. Your pieces, your decorations. Go over to Totally Beads. They are $8.99 for 1.5 meters of your 1.2 mil wire, 2 strands of your crystals. I think they're like a 2x3 mil in 2 different shades of red or green, and of course your 0.4 wire as well. $8.99 for the kit. You will have leftover wire, you will have some leftover crystals. Have fun with this, and I really hope you've enjoyed this project. Leslie says, once my fairs are over, I'm going to have a go at these for my own. Oh, amazing, Leslie. Please make sure you share. I'd love to see you know, your outcomes. And thank you, Jasmine. That's really lovely. I just love doing these. And as I said, you could even go a little bit fancy and have this as a window charm, maybe put it onto some chain, and just have this in your window as a window decoration. I hope you've enjoyed it. Sorry I ran over a little bit. It's been lovely as always. I won't be back now until 2 weeks' time. So I will be seeing you on, I believe it's like the 10th, I want to say, of December. But I hope you have a fantastic couple of weeks. You do have the lovely Natalie joining you next week. So enjoy whatever you're doing for the last bit of November. And I will see you all very, very soon. If you do have a go at these, please let me know. Please tag me. I'd love to see your creations because I just think it's lovely to see everyone's take on this. Ah, Debbie says, I think you've got me back into wire work. Yes, have a go and enjoy it. Joanne says, I've just finished my son's chainmail bracelet. I'll share after. These are gorgeous baubles. I'll be having them both on my tree. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Ah, thank you, everyone. Well, look, I'm glad you've enjoyed it. I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Have a fantastic weekend. All right. Thank you.